Hey there, friend. So you think you know Tennessee? Oh yeah, yep, I know what you're thinking. Nashville, country music, hot chicken, maybe Graceland if you're feeling fancy. But let me tell you, there is so much more to the volunteer state that flies completely under the radar. I'm talking about places that even some Tennesseans don't know about. So grab a sweet tea, get comfortable, and let me take you on a journey through Tennessee like you've never seen it before. The hidden side of Tennessee. First things first, let's talk about why Tennessee is called the volunteer state. Most people have no idea. It actually goes back to the War of 1812 when Tennessee soldiers showed up in massive numbers to fight. They were so enthusiastic about volunteering that the nickname just stuck. Pretty cool, right? But that volunteer spirit? It's still alive today, and you'll feel it everywhere you go. Now, Tennessee is divided into 3 grand divisions: East, Middle, and West, and they're all wildly different. Like, you could argue they're almost 3 different states. East Tennessee has those gorgeous Smoky Mountains, Middle Tennessee has rolling hills and music history, and West Tennessee? That's where you get the Mississippi River Delta vibes and some serious barbecue culture. Each region has its own personality, its own food, and honestly, its own secrets. East Tennessee's best-kept secrets. Let's start in East Tennessee because, oh man, this place has some gems. Everyone flocks to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, and sure, those places are fun. Dollywood is an absolute blast. But let me tell you about some spots that'll blow your mind without the crowds. Ever heard of the Forbidden Caverns? It's near Sevierville, and it's this incredible underground cave system that most tourists completely miss. The formations inside are insane. Stalactites, stalagmites, and this thing called a frozen waterfall that looks like something out of a fantasy movie. Native Americans used these caves, and later, moonshiners hid out there during Prohibition. The history alone is worth the visit. But when you're walking through those chambers with all the natural rock formations lit up, it's otherworldly. And speaking of otherworldly, have you ever been to Cades Cove? And yes, of course, I know it's popular, but here's the secret. Go super early in the morning or on a weekday in the off-season. You'll have the place practically to yourself. It's this beautiful valley in the Great Smoky Mountains where you can see historic buildings, churches, and old homesteads. But the real magic? The wildlife. Black bears, deer, turkeys, they're just hanging out like it's no big deal. I'm talking about bears crossing the road right in front of you. It's unreal. But here's one that almost nobody talks about. The Lost Sea. It's in Sweetwater, Tennessee, and it's America's largest underground lake. You literally take a boat ride on a lake inside a cave. The water is so clear and still, and the acoustics down there are haunting. It was used as a hideout during the Civil War, and there are even stories about Cherokee Indians using it centuries before that. When you're floating on that water, surrounded by ancient rock, you feel like you've stepped into another dimension. And of course, if you're into quirky stuff, you've got to check out the Museum of Appalachia in Norris. It's not your typical stuffy museum. This place is a living history farm with over 30 historic log buildings and something like 250,000 artifacts from Appalachian life. You can watch demonstrations of traditional crafts, hear old-time music, and really get a sense of what life was like in these mountains generations ago. It's authentic in a way that's hard to find anymore. Middle Tennessee, beyond the honky-tonks. Alright, let's cruise on over to Middle Tennessee. Nashville gets all the attention, and don't get me wrong, Broadway is a blast. The live music pouring out of every bar, the energy, the chaos, it's iconic. But let me tell you about some places in and around Nashville that are total hidden gems. First up, the Parthenon. And no, you did not hear me wrong. That is exactly what I said. There's a full-scale replica of the Greek Parthenon right in the middle of Nashville's Centennial Park. It was built in 1897 for Tennessee's Centennial Exposition, and it's absolutely stunning. Inside, there's a 42-foot statue of Athena covered in gold leaf. It's the tallest indoor sculpture in the Western world. Walking into that building and seeing that statue, it gives you chills. Nashville's nickname is the Athens of the South, and this is why. Now, if you want to escape the city buzz, head to Radnor Lake State Park. It's only about 10 minutes from downtown, but it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere. The trails around the lake are gorgeous, and you'll see herons, otters, and tons of other wildlife. It's the perfect place to reset when Nashville's neon lights get to be a bit much. But here's a real secret for you, the Natchez Trace Parkway. This 444-mile scenic drive runs from Nashville all the way down to Natchez, Mississippi, and it's one of the most underrated road trips in America. No commercial traffic, no billboards, just you, the trees, and history. The trace follows ancient trails used by Native Americans, and later by traders and settlers. There are these amazing stops along the way. Old inns, burial mounds, Civil War sites. If you want to see Tennessee at its most peaceful and beautiful, this is it. And can we talk about Franklin? Just south of Nashville, this town is absolutely charming. The downtown area is filled with boutiques, restaurants, and history. The Battle of Franklin during the Civil War was one of the bloodiest battles in the entire war, and you can visit the Carter House and Carnton Plantation to learn about it. But beyond the history, Franklin just has this vibe with music in the square, great food, friendly people. It feels like the Tennessee you imagined before you got there. Oh, and if you're a bookworm, you have to visit Parnassus Books in Nashville. It's owned by best-selling author Ann Patchett, and it's not just a bookstore, it's a community hub. The staff recommendations are always spot on, and they host incredible author events. Supporting an independent bookstore that's doing it right? That's the kind of thing that makes travel meaningful. West Tennessee, the soul of the Delta. Now let's head west, my friend, because West Tennessee is a whole different beast. Memphis gets the spotlight with Beale Street, Graceland, and barbecue. And trust me, the barbecue is life-changing. But let me tell you about some spots that'll give you a deeper taste of what this region is all about. First, Reelfoot Lake. This place is wild, literally. It was formed by a series of earthquakes in 1811 and 1812. The same New Madrid earthquakes that were so powerful, they actually made the Mississippi River flow backward for a while. Reelfoot Lake is shallow, swampy, and filled with cypress trees that rise out of the water. It's hauntingly beautiful. You can take a boat tour and see bald eagles. Seriously, there are more bald eagles here in the winter than almost anywhere else in the country. It's one of those places where nature is raw and untamed, and you feel it in your bones. Then there's Shiloh National Military Park. If you're into history, this is a must. The Battle of Shiloh was one of the first major battles of the Civil War, and walking those grounds is a sobering experience. There are over 150 monuments and markers, and the stories of what happened there are intense. It's quiet now, just fields and forests, but you can almost feel the weight of history. And here's a fun one. Casey Jones Village in Jackson. Casey Jones was a legendary railroad engineer who died in a train wreck in 1900 while trying to save his passengers. He's become a folk hero, and this village is dedicated to his memory. There's a museum, a restaurant, an old-fashioned ice cream parlor, and even a train you can walk through. It's quirky and nostalgic, and if you're a sucker for Americana like I am, you'll love it. But if you really want to get off the beaten path, check out the Pinson Mounds. These are some of the largest prehistoric Native American mounds in the United States, built by the Middle Woodland people over 2,000 years ago. You can walk the trails, see the mounds, and visit the museum to learn about the people who built them. It's a side of Tennessee history that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Tennessee's food scene, more than just hot chicken. Okay, we need to talk about food because Tennessee does not mess around when it comes to eating. Yes, Nashville hot chicken is incredible. Prince's hot chicken is the OG, and Hattie B's is fantastic too. But there's so much more. In Memphis, barbecue is a religion. You've got your famous spots like Central BBQ, the Barbecue Shop, and Rendezvous with their dry rub ribs. But here's a tip. Ask locals where they go. You'll find little hole-in-the-wall joints that'll serve you the best pulled pork of your life for like $8. And don't sleep on meat and threes. These are southern cafeterias where you pick a meat and 3 sides. It's comfort food at its finest. Fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread. Arnold's Country Kitchen in Nashville is legendary, and it's cash only, so come prepared. Oh, and moon pies and RC Cola? That's a Tennessee thing, especially in the Chattanooga area where moon pies are made. It's a combo that sounds weird but somehow works. The music beyond Nashville. Everyone knows Nashville is Music City, but Tennessee's musical roots run deep everywhere. Memphis is the birthplace of rock and roll, blues, and soul. Sun Studio is where Elvis, Johnny Cash, and Jerry Lee Lewis recorded. Standing in that tiny studio where music history was made, it's surreal. And then there's the Stax Museum, dedicated to soul music. Stax Records gave us Otis Redding, Isaac Hayes, and Booker T and the MGs. The museum is incredible, and you leave with a whole new appreciation for the music that came out of Memphis. But even in smaller towns, music is everywhere. Bristol, on the Tennessee-Virginia border, is known as the birthplace of country music. The Bristol Sessions in 1927 recorded Jimmie Rodgers and the Carter Family, basically launching country music as we know it. There's a great museum there if you want to dive into that history. Final thoughts. So, there you have it, my friend. Tennessee is so much more than the tourist brochures show you. It's hidden caves and underground lakes, ancient mounds and Civil War battlefields, swampy cypress forests and mountain trails. It's food that makes you close your eyes and sigh, music that gets into your soul, and people who will call you honey and mean it. The best way to experience Tennessee is to get off the main roads, talk to locals, and let yourself wander. Some of the best memories I have are from places I stumbled onto by accident. A tiny diner with the best biscuits I've ever had. A roadside overlook where I watched the sunset over the mountains. A front porch conversation with someone who told me stories I'll never forget. Tennessee rewards curiosity. So next time you're planning a trip, think beyond the obvious. Dive into the hidden gems. Trust me, you won't regret it. Safe travels, my friend. And hey, if you find an amazing spot I didn't mention, let me know. I'm always up for discovering something new.